Chris Brown, Steve Tasker with you, and we're about to welcome in the man who I promise you was not put up to this, but gave us a very heartfelt shout-out on Good Morning Football. Listen to this.
Steve Tasker and Chris Brown are the beating heart of the Bills media, and they do the local show, One Bills Live, every week. And a couple weeks ago, they were like, oh, come on, this Patriots thing is overrated, stupid, ridiculous, overhyped. And then it's like, but are you guys scared? They're like, oh, we're terrified.
Yeah,
are you kidding? We're absolutely terrified. We cannot even sleep at night.
And here he is, one Kyle Brandt. Appreciate the shout-out. The check's in the mail, Kyle. But my God, you made us look like a bunch of quivering people in the corner in the fetal position.
You totally outed us.
All right. First of all, I called you guys the beating hearts of the Bills media. I thought that was very nice. I think I was buttering you up. I don't remember you calling the Patriots thing stupid. That just came out. I'm going to have to wear that one. And then I do really think my account of your 180 when I asked if you guys are scared, I do think it did go something like that. Am I mistaken there?
No, not at all. No, it's 100% on point.
That's true.
I knew it. Hey, this is a big month of football we got coming up here. This is why you lift all those weights. This is a big stretch right here. And I don't know who's happier right now. It's either going to be the folding table manufacturers in Buffalo or the psychiatrists. One of the two is about to have an upshoot in business. It's up to the team which one.
We're part-time therapists on Mondays half the season anyway. So, I mean.
Yeah, it is. And I said this as well. For a long time, it was the Patriots and everybody else in the division. It was the Bills, Jets, Dolphins. Now, at least, and I harken back to the times when I was playing, and it was Don Shula and Dan Marino and Marv and Jim. You get these, particularly in this scenario where you got these guys in the last half of the season, and it's within a month of each other, both games. It is massive, the meaning of this game. It is massive. And we're going to chew it up. We are chewing this thing up. We got an extra day to do it. And it comes down to, we got all these, every caller we've got has a different strategy for beating these guys. We have another caller calls up, and he's got a different fear to be afraid of for these guys, a different thing to think about for these guys. It has been a long, long time since even last year when the Bills swept the whole thing. It's been a long time since we've had a division in the AFC, a division game in the AFC East that's been this big.
I know. You're right. It does feel like back in the 90s when it was that big and this big, and on Monday Night Football, number one scoring defense against the number one total defense. And I'd be fascinated to hear what the callers are saying, but I got to say, I was firmly in the camp last year and at the beginning of this year. I was starting to write the book mentally in my head that, listen, that 20 years that the Patriots had, that was Brady. Brady was the tentpole that held that thing up. He was the machine that made that go. In the Scorsese-De Niro relationship he had with Belichick, no. It was all De Niro carrying those movies. I have a hand up. I was wrong. It was not all Brady. Brady's magical. Right. Brady's Brady. But this Belichick thing now, it's disappointing. If I speak for Buffalo, like I was hoping that he was some kind of quack who just got lucky with the 6th-round draft pick 20 years ago and can't coach at all. But now here he is, and he's got this other rookie quarterback, this sort of Anakin Skywalker, King Joffrey amalgam. Who is doing things that rookies aren't supposed to do. And if I look at the game, I'm not sitting around waiting for Mac Jones to make a mistake. I'm waiting for other ways to beat this team because I wouldn't count on that.
Yeah, and the thing that bothers me, and we've talked about this several times with you, Kyle, already this season, the physical front that they bring on offense, the running game by committee, granted, but still very effective. That has proven to not be a great matchup for Buffalo, whether they have Tremaine Edmonds, whether they have Star Lotulelei, or whoever else. It's been a problem this year, and Monday night, they better have it fixed.
I know. I'm not here to do a Patriots infomercial. It's just the fact is they haven't lost in, going on close to 2 months. And you know me, like my wheelhouse is physical running. That's what I love. It's the anger runs and all that stuff. Here's our process. We do anger runs on Good Morning Football. It's a producer and this producer Quab, this great guy. And we look through all the most physical runs every single week to try to pick our finalists. I am telling you, every single week, it's either this Damian Harris or this Ramondre Stevenson, and a lot of times it's both. I'm telling you, they run so hard. They got this running back coach there, Ivan Fears. He's been there for over 20 years. He's been through all the Super Bowls, everything. I don't think these are the most talented running backs in the league. I'm not saying anybody should be scared of them, but they're scared of nothing. They run really hard. It's going to take 2 or 3 guys to get them down. And if you buy into scar tissue that Bills fans may have about Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor, the evidence is there. I'm telling you, this game is going to come down to tackling the Patriots running backs, because Mac Jones is not going to throw for 350 yards against this team. Those 2 guys, these 2 kind of unremembered, unspectacular, undrafted type players, got to bring them down, because these guys have a full head of steam every time they touch it. They're good.
What do you think the Patriots think about Trey White being out for the season? How's that change things?
First of all, Steve, I hate it. And I know you guys have talked about it. And I don't want to hold another funeral for the 2021 Trey White thing. But good God, I watched that. I was so pissed. And it's this feeling of, God, anybody but Trey. Not only what he means to the defense, just how he is as a person, the energy. Let me just take a moment and address it from my perspective and say, this sucks and I hate it. And the injury gods are cruel and they demand sacrifice. But the Patriots and Bill Belichick are also really cruel. And believe it, like, we will find out very early how this secondary, this great, proud, passionate secondary, is going to figure out without him. And by early, I don't mean the first quarter. I don't even know if I mean the first drive. That might be the first play. That may be the first play that they take a shot with this Kendrick Bourne or all these guys who are getting hot for them now, because damn, even when the Bills secondary wasn't playing its best game necessarily on a given week, they always had the juice. You know, those guys always had energy, and they're still out there. But the White thing, I'm not going to patronize any fans listening and say, it's okay. It's a big loss. And they all know that. And we'll find out how big on Monday night.
You mentioned angry runs. There was a Bills nominee as well, in addition to the Patriots. It was Motor Singletary. I don't know if you were more fired up about his run or Sean McDermott's gritty sideline demeanor. I think I might have been most impressed, though, Kyle, with the Tesla Psychotic Supper album reference. How did you work that in?
Well, listen, Brownie, you just have to pay attention, because signs everywhere. There's signs. And it's a 5-man acoustical jam sometimes with that offensive line they have there. It's not what you got, it's what you give. Wow. And Devin Singletary gave everything. I did reference Tesla on the show today, and it wasn't even on this play. The Jaguars have a safety who has long hair, and he looks like a roadie for Tesla. Oh, okay. And when I'm in the middle of that ridiculous segment, things just pop in there, and some synapse in my head fired that said, I need an early 90s metal band, and I said Tesla. But you are paying attention so closely, Brownie, because we're seeing everybody watching this right now. We're seeing the Motor Singletary, and there's McDermott, okay? And he's sort of doing that flex, I'm the dip king in college type hard, tough guy clap. But I think that's a loaded celebration, because we'll put it this way. If Josh completed a 26-yard pass to Stephon Diggs on the sideline, a beautiful thing, I don't think McDermott is doing that. I think he nods his head and goes to the next play. He knows how big a big run for the Bills running game is, whether it be Breida or Singletary. He knows what time it is with this running game, as we've discussed many, many times. A running game who, again, they're going to need Monday night.
Yeah, I don't know how well-versed you are in McDermott's sideline demeanor, but he is a certified clap addict. Like, it's a thing. Yeah. It's above. I don't know if you've seen it on our social media and stuff, but he is a clap addict.
You're correct in saying, too, it's his facial expression along with it. Yes, he's got that. Yeah, that's what I like. Yes,
even flexes his face as he's doing it. And listen, we've seen a lot of clappers. You know, Jason Garrett got a lot of run for being a clapper, but he is more of like an 18th green clapper. Right, I feel like McDermott's doing reps and he's slapping them hard.
Yeah, he's the guy. That's when your homeboy has an alley fight and you're standing around and he's winning. That's that right there. That I've been there, right? So
yeah, or maybe your horse is coming in or something like that. You know, like you're fired up about that one.
We're all right. We're officially in the weeds here. Let's get back on track. Yes. All right. So the AFC is an absolute. It's a Kentucky Derby with a bunch of really good horses. I mean, everybody's coming down. They're at the 3/4 pole now. I don't know. They're on the back straight, at the top of the back straight, I guess. Not coming down the stretch yet. But man, oh man, there's a big bunch of horses coming down around the track in this horse race. How do you see this shaking out? Look at the AFC West. 3 teams with 6 wins, 1 with 7. You got Baltimore, New England, Tennessee, Buffalo, Cincinnati. It's a lot of fun to look at right now with 6 games to play.
It's incredible. I couldn't have said it better, Steve. It's so fun because one of these teams is going to shock us. I know it. There's going to be a team that not only gets in, but wins a playoff game or 2 that we're not expecting. If I'm just going to pick who I think is partly the strangest, but partly the most exciting team in the AFC race, aside from Buffalo, this Cincinnati thing is crazy. I mean, it really is, because just look at their season. They've got these unbelievably impressive wins where they look like they're the best team in the league. And then they lost to the Jets. They lost to the Bears. They've gotten their clock cleaned by Cleveland. And so I was just in the AFC. I'm like, I watched them play against Pittsburgh. I'm like, is this like the Kurt Warner Rams? I'm looking at these teams are awesome. And yet the next week they'll completely let you down. The word is trust in the AFC. It's not who's good, because whoever's good is going to be terrible the next week. We saw, the Ravens looked awful in a win. The Ravens got destroyed by the Dolphins. I can go down the list. The Bills certainly have their warts. So the only teams you're looking at right now who are doing it consistently are New England. So I guess you could say Kansas City, who hasn't lost in a long time either. But I go back to my code always. If you're trying to find someone to trust, and you have to close your eyes and pick a team, if your life depended on it, head coach and defense. Head coach and defense. The quarterbacks are too up and down. The offenses are hit or miss sometimes. Who has a D and who has a head coach? It brings me to New England. It brings me to Buffalo and maybe Baltimore. But those are the teams I would count on. If all else fails, defense and head coach.
And who is currently in a playoff position now, Kyle, that a month from now you wouldn't be surprised if they are just completely out of it? The jockey hit the whip way too early, and they are just done on the backstretch and fading mightily. If you had to pick somebody that's currently one of the top 7 that fade, I was thinking Tennessee, because they're so beat up and their schedule's pretty tough the rest of the way.
I think Tennessee Brownie is the obvious answer, and they're trying. And look, I love Vrabel. I really do. I love what he does with that team. It's tough. No Julio, no AJ, no Derek. One of those guys out would be really tough. Tannehill, your favorite player, Brian. I know you're a huge Ryan Tannehill fan. As good as he is, can't carry without all those guys. If anybody's just listening right now, quick sidebar. For some reason, like a month ago, Brownie came off the top rope on Ryan Tannehill as probably his least favorite player in the league, if not least favorite person in the world. So I know you're relishing this inevitable demise of the Titans.
Did you watch his performance last week? You watched his performance last week. What did he throw for? 80 yards? That guy can't carry his own jock. He's not carrying a team.
I know. It's an amazing take, Brownie, that I respect. It's okay to not like people, but I will also answer it this way. The Chargers, I want to love them. I really do. I think this Brandon Staley, their coach, is really smart, and I think he is afraid of nothing. Everybody likes Herbert, but I knew they were going to lose that game to Denver. I just knew it. There was no way. Denver was coming off a bye. They usually have good success against the Chargers. They were going to Denver, and sure enough, it's like, oh, Herbert, you're the next great thing. You're the next Josh Allen. You're the next Mahomes. He throws 2 picks. He gets a rookie intercepts him 2 times. I can't count on that team in December. I want to. I like the team. I like that they don't really have any home fans. They don't give a damn, and they play every game on the road, even the ones in their home stadium. But they got trounced by I think kind of a middling Denver team. So Tennessee and the Chargers are the ones I would not have faith in.
Yeah, Chargers are last in the league in run defense. To your point, do you have a defense? They do not.
Yeah.
They don't. And they got star players, but it doesn't matter. We're seeing these teams all of a sudden with star household names. They can't win a damn game. I mean, this thing we're watching with the LA Rams is crazy. It's like they've lost 3 in a row. They're getting trounced, and they got the 92 dream team recast and just think that they're going to waltz to the Super Bowl. They can't stop anybody. You watch the game, and Vaughn and Aaron Donald aren't doing anything. It's really strange, and it's like they just have this funk. And Stafford all of a sudden doesn't look like himself. I don't expect anything from that team either. It's tough.
So this is where I'm sitting now. I look at this, and It is a week-to-week league. 1 week he's bashing Ryan Tannehill. The next week, Tennessee's the 1 seed, right? I mean, it's going to be that way, and I think it's going to be that way all the way to the end. Now I'm looking right now as we sit in week. What is it? Week 11?
No, it's week 13.
No, it's like week 13.
Catch up with us, buddy.
Okay, it's week. I keep forgetting the 18-week thing. All right, so we're in week 13, and you've got teams as far back as Cleveland, who's the 12 seed. Pittsburgh, who's the 11, and Indianapolis, who's the 10 seed.
Yeah.
I'll bet you one of those teams going to make it.
I know.
Cleveland or Pittsburgh right now?
I'll bet you Indianapolis can fight back in it and get
I'll
there,
give you
particularly with Tennessee falling off the map. And Cincinnati, the Chargers, Buffalo at the 5, 6, and 7, any one of those teams could be replaced by a team that goes on a run. Indianapolis is playing too good a football. I know they took a loss to the world champions, but man, oh man, and and Pittsburgh as well. That tie may help Pittsburgh sneak in the back end. But man, oh man,
Indianapolis for sure. Indianapolis for sure.
Go back
Denver.
and look at,
I'm not a buyer in Denver. The Raiders all of a sudden have this incredibly crispy game this weekend with Washington. Who knew that Raiders versus Washington was mattered, but it does. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. Indianapolis, you have to ride on them too. I mean, that was a really quality loss in which they ran, and Wentz has played better than most. And of course, Frank, we've talked about a million times. I still would ride with Indianapolis too.
All right. So now I need your gauge on this scenario. So we hear after the Packers game with the Rams that OBJ apparently asked Davante Adams for a jersey swap.
Oh, so good.
And then
I love this.
He tells him, why don't you go ask for Cooper Kupp's jersey since that's who you wanted to be with? Because obviously the Packers were in the running for OBJ, which I know is a sore subject for you. He's your Tannehill for you. So, essentially. So, OBJ, where do you rank Davante Adams on Smack Talk with that one? Because I got him right up at the top, man.
Okay. I'm actually going to zag on this one, Brownie. Okay. I'm actually going to go to OBJ because it is a great line by Davante, and he will have one. And you wanted to be with Cooper Kupp, so why don't you go get his jersey? If I was Odell, I would have said, well, speaking of cups, why don't you take a paper one and walk up to your front office and ask them to actually put some money in it for me, and then I would have joined the Packers. They offered me the league minimum. Like, you can't dial this thing up a little bit to win a Super Bowl. I actually think the other foot drops because the Packers nickel and dimed it like they always do, and that's the reason that Odell's not there. And you know what? As the Packers are every single year, they're going to be one player short of the Super Bowl. It's going to happen. And maybe that would have been Odell.
And I'll say this too, and I said this back in the offseason, and it was reiterated early in this season as the Packers played Pittsburgh. And there was a moment when Aaron Rodgers is about to run a play, Pittsburgh's caught shorthanded, and Mike Tomlin calls the timeout. And Aaron Rodgers gives him that was a sharp timeout. I had you. And Mike Tomlin goes, I know you did. I have put Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh since March of this last year.
Okay.
This may be his last year in Green Bay. Pittsburgh's going to have a lot of cap space this next offseason, and that would be a transition from Big Ben to that they could make work in Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers. I just think you say Green Bay's going to be one player away. When Aaron Rodgers goes away, they're going to be 5 players away. And I think he's going away.
You think that the Steelers? I mean, and I love it, Steve. I totally respect it. It's a great take. You think the Steelers pay the ransom and whoever it may be and trade the Packers everything for Rodgers in the offseason?
He's been saying it for months.
I think so. I think that's the key because Rodgers wants to go. He may get out of the conference. The Packers will go along with that. That's fine. Get him out of our conference. Goes to another team. Fine, he can go to that team, but they've got capital they can give to us, and we make the transition. I think it's going to happen, and I think and I think you're right. I think Rodgers is going to take him deep, but not to the Super Bowl. Not the way. I guess the
only thing I wouldn't like about it if I was Rodgers is that look, the dirty secret about Rodgers for all these years is that the Lions are always terrible and the Bears never have a quarterback. Rodgers would be signing up to go against Lamar and Burrow and who knows who for, I don't know, the next 3 or 4 years at least. This isn't like Brady going down to Tampa, like where he's got what's left of Drew Brees and the Falcons and the Panthers. It would be tough. It would be tough for Rodgers. But listen, I like that a lot. And I would only say the only reason that what's going to weigh huge in the offseason, and now we're getting way into March and April, all that Packers-Chiefs game is going to play a role in what happens with Aaron Rodgers, because Jordan Love did not look the part, did not look ready. And I think it's going to make the Packers much more loath to trade Rodgers to anybody. This thing still has yet to play out.
The only thing and you think about divisions, what other division would go to that has crappy quarterbacks? And you start thinking about his hometown.
The Niners?
Yeah. Russ Wilson. I mean, this is a down.
That guy's out of there. Holy cow, is he
You've got Kyler Murray, and Matt Stafford, who, I don't know, he's younger than Aaron, I guess, but he's that may be the only other division that would satisfy a quarterback who wants to go where he can be the better quarterback in every game he plays.
I know. And it's true. And it's so fun to look at the map and see where he fits. Like, I still don't know if I'm one of the presidents of the Packers, or if I'm Matt LaFleur, I'm still lying down in the parking lot behind Aaron Rodgers' car and making him drive over me to leave the facility. I don't want him to leave. The crazy thing is here's the thing about Rodgers. If he had not missed the game that he had to miss, I think he's the MVP. Like, again, he really has been that good again. And he's out there destroying the Rams with whatever injury he has or doesn't have. That the game he had to sit out may actually keep him from winning an MVP again when this is all said and done. He's been that good.
Maybe 6 games left. That's
maybe.
And a COVID.
If it's close and he loses, it's going to be that game.
And I hate to say it. Far be it from me to cast aspersions on our industry. Okay. But there may be the odd media person out there who will refuse to vote for him because he lied to them about being vaccinated.
Sure.
I mean, I don't want to.
I mean, I don't know if you know anything about this, Steve, about finicky voters to get into hallowed institutions. I don't know if you know anything about that, but there may be some people with Rodgers who kind of hold a grudge or say, I was in those rooms and you put me at risk, or you put my colleagues at risk. Who knows? It's certainly possible. But frankly, like, who else are you voting for? Brady's sort of just floating there. It's not going to be one of these running backs that Taylor thinks not going to happen, and no other quarterback has gone and grabbed it. A lot of football left, but there's no knight in shining armor right now in that race.
I agree.
Kyle, listen, we've kept you way too long. Thanks for going down Steve's rabbit hole with him. We do it about 4 times a week, so we appreciate that. And hopefully we're talking to you about the Bills being in the driver's seat for the AFC East next week at this time.
It is always a pleasure to cast aspersions with you two. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks. All right, Kyle, be good.
See ya.